What is up, guys? Welcome back to another RGBtv review. Before we get started, we have one quick little announcement. We recently revamped our Patreon page, so if you like our content here on our channel and you want to support us, make sure to check out our Patreon page and then consider becoming one of our patrons. So, now let's get started with our review of Toy Story 4. So, Toy Story 4, the latest entry into Pixar's line of amazing movies. This time we see the return of Buzz and Woody in their fourth adventure. Andy, what did you think?
I must say that the Toy Story franchise holds a special place in my heart. It's by far, they're my favorite Pixar films. The lead character's name is Andy. My name is Andy. I watched these movies growing up as a small child, okay? I had a special connection to these movies.
You were immersed in the
I
world.
was immersed. I might as well have been Woody's owner, okay? I got receipts to prove my Toy Story fandom. We get news a couple years back that they're planning a Toy Story 4. And everyone's like, instinct is to be like, why? Why does this movie need to exist? Right? It's like, this movie doesn't need to exist. And I feel like most people that I've heard talk about this movie, they're like, you know what? This movie's gonna suck. This movie's terrible. They're gonna ruin Toy Story. There's no need for it. But I must say that when I first heard the announcement of Toy Story 4, I kind of had that same reaction as well. But I thought, you know what? There is one thread left to tie.
Is there?
When I first heard the announcement, I was like, you know what? There's one thing they can still do. And it was with the conspicuous absence of Bo Peep in part 3.
So you're giving yourself all the credit for
I'm not giving myself
Toy Story 4.
I'm not giving myself the credit, but I do deserve all the credit. They purposely left Bo out of part 3, and her disappearance, they left it very mysterious, right? So here comes Toy Story 4, and I find out that Bo is gonna be in it, and I'm like, okay, fantastic. I'm all aboard this train. And I must say, going in to see it, I thought it was amazing. I loved it.
Regarding your thoughts before of what you had said, I kind of agree with you a little bit, and I thought, like, okay, it was a nice trilogy. It wrapped up the... What is 4 going to be about? Like, I hope they don't ruin it.
Yeah.
I agree that I thought the movie was really good. Really good. Maybe not to the point of greatness, for me at least, but it was solid. It was solidly good. And I like how one of my friends puts it. He's part of the GOAT Movie podcast. You should check him out. But in their review, he was talking about how the 3 Toy Stories are like the beginning and the conclusion of a book.
Right.
And Toy Story 4 is like the nice epilogue afterwards. And I share those sentiments with this movie. Probably wasn't necessary, to be perfectly honest, because the first 3 movies focus about what the toys do for their kids.
Right.
Whereas the 4th one is about what the toys do for themselves. Like, they finally get to follow their own dreams kind of thing with Woody's. Which I guess is a story to be told.
Right.
But I didn't find it necessary.
Okay.
I thought the first 3 Toy Stories were a perfectly wrapped trilogy. But that being said, I thought this was a great addition. It was a very good addition. I have a few problems with it, but we'll discuss that in the spoiler section.
Okay. Woody has always been the heart of the Toy Story movies, right? He is the lead character, right? Buzz is obviously an awesome classic character, but Woody is like the lead.
I think Buzz is also a lead, but Woody's slightly above.
But they're co-leads, right? But I feel like Woody is still like the central character to these Toy Story movies. At least in my opinion, he's my favorite. He's the one that...
Buzz is the best.
Nope.
All right, what I thought was fantastic from Toy Story 4, hands down, the 3D animation, oh my god, dude. It took it to a whole nother level. There's a scene at the beginning, without going into spoilers, and it's at nighttime, it's raining, there's like running water.
Spoilers? Just kidding.
There's running water in like the sidewalk, and it looks like real water. It legit looks like real leaves, it looks like real water, it looks like real grass. What they've done in Toy Story 4 when it comes to 3D animation it blew my mind. The whole movie looked beautiful.
Yeah. No, it was amazing. It was breathtaking animation.
I also loved that this movie was just straight up a comedy. Like the other Toy Stories, they had elements of comedy, they had elements of drama, they had, you know, elements of just children's movie in general. The first three, actually, it each got progressively funnier, but part 4 was straight up a comedy.
It was hilarious.
Like, almost none of the jokes fell flat for me. All of them hit or landed. The characters just became comedians. I don't know, I just thought this
a lot of the new
hilarious.
characters, a lot of the newly introduced characters were pretty hilarious. Like, let's talk about Forky a little bit. Forky, based off the trailers, I was a little bit worried about Forky, and I thought maybe he's gonna come across as like too childish or too annoying, right? Like, after a while, he grew on me big time, and he was probably my favorite of the new characters. Honestly, I thought his voice actor Tony Hale, Buster from Arrested Development.
Oh, nice.
He's hilarious. First of all, that just as Buster, he's hilarious, and then him voicing Forky, hilarious as well. There were a few other new characters introduced as well, right?
Yes, the Key and Peele characters, which were hilarious. They were called Key and Peele.
Exactly. They were literally just Key and Peele.
Yes, and it was fantastic.
Great
it was characters. The return of Bo and how her character played into the plot. The story was pretty solid. It was a solid story. You know, it's a very unique, original story where two toys get lost during a road trip. And
never been seen before in a Toy Story
and this
film.
other toy then have to find their kid again.
Right.
And they go through an adventure. Super unique story.
Okay.
Toy Story.
I gotta give it props for being different, though, in different ways. Like, in thematic ways, right? So there were a lot of, like, dark and disturbing themes throughout this movie,
a little
right?
bit of horror, huh?
There are a lot of horror
in.
elements as well. Yeah, and it takes you to like weird places where you like stop and think, and you're like, wow, I can't believe a kids movie is like making you ask these questions to yourself, right? So I give it props for, even though it's basically more of the same, giving it a unique spin. And if the same, you know, if what you're getting in the first place is like fantastic, then I'll accept more of the same. You know, as long as the quality is up there, I'll accept it. So returning to their iconic characters, we have Tom Hanks, the beloved, the one and only, right? It's basically just him and Robin Williams. There's no one up there like with the two. Then we got Tim Allen, another icon, returning as Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. We got the whole gang, right? I gotta say, the voice acting was fantastic. I was thinking this movie came out 9 years before after, I should say, Toy Story 3, right? So there was obviously like almost a decade span between those two. And in reference to another Pixar movie that came out last year, I believe, Incredibles 2, right? That was a movie that also had a huge gap in between sequel releases. I think it was like 14 years or something, right? And I gotta say, in Incredibles 2, I noticed that the voice acting, the voice actors themselves sounded significantly older than they did in Incredibles 1. I noticed it, like, because I had just recently watched the first Incredibles before seeing the second, and going from the first to the second, like, back to back, specifically, like, Mr. Incredible himself, you could hear that Mr. Incredible, the voice actor, sounds like much older. He sounds like an older man.
Decrepit and tired.
Essentially, yes, to put it nicely. So I was worried. I was like, dude, are we gonna like, are Tom Hanks and Buzz, like, are they, because like those are iconic
Buzz, come back here, Buzz.
To infinity and beyond, my heart. So I was concerned that, you know, it was gonna have that Incredibles 2 effect, and it didn't. They're all just like, it's the same old classic voices that we know and love. In addition to some of the new characters, Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom, Key and Peele's characters, Forky, I thought it was just top-notch voice acting. Spoiler time! All right, Jonathan, why don't you start us off with some hardcore spoilers?
All right, spoiler alert, you've been warned. So, what I like about Toy Story, this one, is the theme, I guess. It's of Woody finding his purpose in life. I like the theme. I'm not sure how I feel about the resolution of the theme.
Okay.
He kind of comes to this realization because he's overly obsessed with... He seems to be overly obsessed in all the movies with his kid, which is, you know, kind of natural because, you know, you get a connection with the toy and vice versa. And
like he said, he was always like the most cherished toy in Andy's eyes.
So when he sees that the most cherished toys in Bonnie's eyes is Forky, you know, his OCD, overly obsessiveness comes into play, and then he goes after, like, we have to get you back to Bonnie.
Yeah.
It's all about Bonnie this and Bonnie that. So it's about Woody realizing that it's not all about the kid all the time. Like, you can go for your own dreams,
Right.
which I guess is it's a cool story. It's a cool message, but it's Woody, he's like the leader of the troop.
Right.
I don't know about how I feel about how it was resolved, with Woody leaving.
Yeah. So okay.
But the adventure leading up to it was hilarious. It was good. It was good. It's nice.
I love what they did in the opening scene. Right, so the movie starts off with a 9 years earlier, or whatever, right, 9 years ago, and it basically shows us what was teased in part 3, which is how Bo was lost and separated from the gang, right? And basically, there's like a whole rescue mission to save RC, who's trapped in the gutter, and it's raining, whatever. So they pull off this whole huge mission, and at that moment, Bo and her lamp,
bring me the lamp,
and her sheep or whatever, right, get donated to some friend of Andy's mom or whatever, and it's like, oh, take her, we don't need her anymore, whatever. So Bo and Woody get separated at that point, and Woody has a moment right before Bo's taken off, right, where like she's in a cardboard box and they're talking. He's like, but you're leaving, you can't leave. He's like, come on, I'll take you back. And then Bo says something along the lines of, you know what, toys, sometimes they get given away. And then she even says something like, and sometimes toys get put in the wrong box. So yeah, you can see in that moment where she's like, there's room for you here, essentially, right? And he actually thinks about it for a moment, and you just see it on his face, and then Andy comes out, where's Woody? Screaming in the yard, right?
Like a madman.
Yes, exactly. And then he realizes, oh, it's that loyalty he has to his kid that holds him back from being with the one he loves, right? They're toys, but they love each other, whatever. So I loved that opening scene for kind of like showing how they got separated, and that also kind of like plants into Woody's character, like that he had that moment where he's thinking like, what if I had left? What if I had left with her? What could my life have been like with Bo?
And that's his character arc.
Yes, and now that he's not with Andy, right, and he's not serving his purpose as the most cherished toy, essentially, right?
Or even a toy that gets played with.
He doesn't even get played with. He's like left in the closet with the other terrible unused toys or whatever, right? He gets his sheriff badge removed and replaced by Jesse. Point is, Woody is basically feeling useless and purposeless at this point, right? Andy's gone. Bonnie doesn't even care about him. Parents are stepping on his head, right? He's losing his sheriff badge, and he accidentally creates an abomination.
That's
right?
true. Woody helps create this abomination.
Literally creates.
He provides the limbs.
Yes, he puts the pieces right in front of Bonnie, right? Digs them out of the trash and says, "Bring it to life." Okay?
And Woody said, "Let there be life."
So Woody literally creates Forkenstein's monster. He ends up becoming responsible for Forky, who's essentially suicidal.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Forky's just
Basically.
trying to commit suicide.
Again.
The first half of the movie.
Trash. Right? So yeah, so like that's what I mean. Like those are some of the dark themes of this movie, right? It's like one of these toys literally just wants to die.
So this movie, unlike other Toy Stories, there's kind of been a main villain.
Right.
So Sid in the first one, the Prospector / Big Al in the second one, and then in the third one you get the Care Bear.
Lotso Bear.
And then this one, it kind of has an antagonist, but not really.
Yeah. Well,
Kind
at
of.
the start, they portray her as a villain, right? And
Yeah.
you get these creepy vibes, and you're like,
Very creepy.
Yeah.
Super creepy. The dummies, oof! The dummies were creepy as hell.
her
dude.
dummy henchman. Yeah, I agree. That like, yeah, they're. It starts off the villain, right? I think her name is Gabby, right?
Gabby.
She's like this old classic like doll toy from like the 50s or whatever. And she's in some antique shop that eventually the Woody finds himself in. And yeah, they portray her as a very creepy villain, right? Because what she wants is Woody's voice box, which when I first thought that, I'm like, oh my god, these are some dark implications. They're gonna tear Woody open.
They're harvesting his organs.
They're gonna
pretty much.
harvest Woody's organs, his voice box, and just kill him. And I'm like, okay, that's just creepy as hell, along with the dummies. But as the movie proceeds,
You notice that the dummies didn't speak because there was no hand up their butt.
it's true.
These are the things I think about during Toy Story 4.
Yep. as the movie goes on, you realize that who we thought was a villain isn't all that villainous, really. I gotta say, just one scene that I really loved, and I thought it was so different and weird and like out of the ordinary for a kid's film, is the scene when Forky jumps out of the RV and Woody goes out to save him, right? And then they're stuck on that road, and they're like lost on that road, and they see the RV park sign or whatever, and they're just walking, and there's a long shot where it's literally just like beautifully framed, and it's Woody and Forky, and they're walking towards the camera, and the camera's just tracking them back, right? And it's just a long conversation ruminating on the meaning of life and existence, and Forky literally just asking some deep questions. And it's like, I was like, dude, this is an awesome scene. It's just Forky like, why am I alive?
Carry me?
Yeah, carry me? No, I'm not gonna carry you. Carry me. I just thought it was great. And just asking some deep questions for a kid's film. But did you feel like it was too much? Like, did you feel like the plot was like meandering, or that it wasn't like...
I felt there was some pacing issues. A few times it was kind of boring sometimes. But I think that when it did pick up, and then the comedy made up for it.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was hilarious. One of my favorite gags in the movie had to do with Key and Peele's character, Key and Peele. Key and Peele are trying to get the key and peel out of there.
Wow, okay.
And they start like daydreaming about how they're gonna take the key from this old lady. Oh my god, that was hilarious. I laughed out loud during those moments, and just any moment pretty much with Key and Peele.
Right.
I was cracking up. The little unicorn that kept wanting to get the dad arrested for some reason. I don't know
totally
what he
paid off. That totally paid off.
It totally paid off. That was hilarious. It was hilarious with Forky. A little annoying at the beginning.
Yeah.
Mostly hilarious the rest of the film.
Mm-hmm.
This film was hilarious. It was just hilarious.
It was
all around.
super funny. I'll agree.
Toy Story 4 definitely had feels. Less feels than Toy Story 3.
Right.
But I think that the one that hit me the most was obviously at the end when Woody decides he's gonna hold back and become a lost toy.
Right.
Because he's found his purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying goodbye to the other toys. And then it's that 2-shot with Woody and Buzz side by side, walking towards each other. And I was like, oh my god, dude, this is it. And then Buzz and Woody, BFFs since the first movie. And then they hug each other.
The extra tight.
Yeah, the extra tight, and then it's like getting the extra grip, and it just kind of, it's a long shot of a hug. Oh my god, I almost burst into tears.
That was the by far the...
Had I blinked.
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah, I agree. I was same exact emotions.
So are there any parts of the movie you did not like?
I've heard a lot of people complaining that several of the original toys are essentially like cut out of the film, or just not written into the film at all, right? Like some of the classics, Mr. Potato Head Ham, Rex, Slinky, all the OGs. Mm-hmm. And I agree. Like it
would have been nice to see more of them. They were literally just chilling in the RV the whole movie. I
agree. Yeah. And there was a severe lack of Pizza Planet Alien. I feel like Buzz did get sidelined big time in this movie.
That's what I was gonna say too. That's probably the biggest deal that I have with this movie that prevented it from being great. Mm-hmm. Not enough Buzz. Mm-hmm. Because Buzz, like we said earlier, he is also a co-lead.
Right.
And in all 3 movies, it's always been Woody and Buzz.
Right.
And this felt like Woody's movie, with maybe Buzz as a side character. And one of the things that plays into that, I don't like how dumb they made Buzz.
I agree there.
They made Buzz an idiot for no apparent reason in this movie.
He's always dumbed down.
Like, he was kind of maybe a little dumb in the first one.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, he doesn't realize he's a toy. But that's more of like maybe like programming the toy or something.
Yeah.
But then once he realized it, he was always in charge. And Toy Story 2, he was like, he would take the lead. And it's like, Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. And Buzz Lightyear, he knows what he was doing. He's brave.
Sorry.
In this movie, it feels like they just made him an idiot. Like, he doesn't know what an inner voice is. He doesn't know what a conscience is. It's like he doesn't make his own opinions. He doesn't. I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. Let me go rescue Woody. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's I don't know why they castrated Buzz. So now we're gonna get into our viewer mini reviews, and today's comes from Gracie over on Instagram.
Hi, Gracie.
She says, "In my opinion, well, of course the movie was very sweet and nostalgic. it did not hit the heart as much as the 3 ones before it, especially number 3.
Right.
Toy Story 3 definitely hit the heart more. The feels.
Toy Story 3 devastated me emotionally, psychologically, metaphysically,
spiritually,
on every level, right? So it's like it really just destroyed you, broke you down into little pieces. So I agree. But I'll say that I still greatly enjoyed Toy Story 4. But I'll agree with her. Toy Story 3 definitely kind of hits that peak of emotion.
Agreed.
Thank you, Gracie. Final thoughts. I loved it. I'm a sucker for Toy Story films, and this was well made, well directed, well voice acted.
Beautiful animation.
Beautiful animation. I really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the themes the comedy was top notch. There was nothing that I really could say that like I didn't like about it. I'd say
Idiot Buzz.
Even Idiot
Two
Buzz
words.
did not ruin the movie at all for me. It did not tarnish it.
It kind of tarnished it for me.
Because like I said, I've always been a sucker for
Buzz
Woody.
has always been my favorite.
Oh,
and
so
to
that's
see
why you're so
my
terrible.
Boy,
Look how they mess with my boy.
Woody has always been my favorite. So that's why I enjoyed it more than you. It's because I've always had a soft spot for Woody, and I've always thought he's always been my favorite personally. So I didn't mind so much the dumbing down of Buzz. But I will say I could have used a bit more Buzz in the film, right? Interacting with Woody, but I'd say the ending still hit home, and I loved it.
I agree. The movie was a very good addition. Super good. Beautiful animation, beautiful everything. With the exception of dumb Buzz. But I definitely recommend it. Go out and see it if you haven't seen it.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Well, guys and gals, this was our review of Toy Story 4. We hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like in the comments. Let us know what you thought about it. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on those social medias. And to infinity and beyond.